Ever wondered which devil fruits in One Piece have wasted potential? Devil fruits are both the most creative and dumbest system ever created. We have to admit that some devil fruits are just overpowered and some were made from the leftovers of a drunken night out. So, like quirks from My Hero Academia, not all powers are created equal, but what happens with a good fruit is in the hands of an idiot. Well, let's talk about fruits with wasted potential thanks to the incompetence of their user. Today, we're counting down the most wasted devil fruits in One Piece, exploring their powers and why they didn't quite live up to their potential. Now, before we begin, some explanation is needed. Wasted potential, for me at least, means a devil fruit that could have been stronger if utilized by someone better. There are so many in this series that have been handed to the most simple-minded individuals. Now, that doesn't mean they can't get stronger, but based on their track record, I severely doubt it. Let's get to it. Number 1. The Suki Suki No Mi is a paramecia type devil fruit that gives its user the ability to turn themselves and whatever they touch, living or otherwise, invisible. Its primary ability is to make the user invisible, but the user can also selectively turn anything they come in contact with invisible as well. Sounds like the perfect fruit for Sam Fisher. But this fruit does have the typical flaws of going invisible. Of course, anything that comes in contact with you will make you visible, like flour, water, blood, and so on and so forth, right? In addition, you're not completely silent either. Someone with keener senses will be able to detect you. Despite the cool feature of turning things invisible, once they leave your person, they become visible again. Like literally holding an invisible spear that becomes visible as soon as you chuck that thing. And I won't say this for each, but they also have the trademark weaknesses of devil fruit users. They can't swim, drowning is inevitable, and sea prism stone, of course. The first user in the series is Absalom and was transferred to Shiryu after, but we're just going to focus on Absalom because we don't know what Shiryu has learned or plans to do with this fruit. Let's cut to the chase. This fruit is wasted on Absalom. To this day, I never understood why Sanji struggled so much against this guy. Yes, Nami was there and was in trouble, but we can't forget this man's speed and intelligence that is showcased throughout this entire show. Putting that aside, we have yet to see his awakened form. But what could make it better? The key here is creativity and working within the confines of their limitations. Use a different weapon. Why would you use a loud weapon like a gun? Have you seen the freaks in One Piece? Capable of hearing the slightest twitch and capable of dodging air particles? Then why not choose a sickle or a knife or a spiky ball on a long chain? Anything that's silent, fast, and anything. Now, we can't imagine it with other abilities because the general rule of thumb is one fruit per person. Like in the mall when you get samples, one sample per person. You can't come back in a different disguise. Doesn't work like that. It is also important to not rely on the power as well. The best example is Stain from My Hero Academia. His quirk sucks. Let's just be honest. The ability to paralyze someone by ingesting their blood, you have to go through so many steps. First, you have to injure them, get their blood from the injury, and ingest it. By the time you even do step 1, you're probably dead. So Stain adopted his fighting style to fit that limitation. So much so, he literally became a hero killer. And so could Absalom if he wasn't a perverted idiot. Still, this will be a continuous theme throughout this list, not the perverted bit, hopefully. The Bomu Bomu No Mi is a paramecia type devil fruit that allows the user to make any part of their body explode, whether it's their limbs, hair, mucus, anything. And this was eaten by Jim, better known by his Baroque works alias Mr. 5. Okay. The fruit's main strength is that the user can detonate their entire body or limbs in a manner akin to a living human bomb, generating powerful explosive forces that harm anything but the user, of course. The explosive quality extends to bodily emissions, such as mucus and pee. Yeah, I had to sneak that one in there. giving the user the capacity to utilize ranged attacks should they find ways to weaponize those substances. This sounds so gross. It also renders all other explosions useless, right? So they can't be blown up. Okay, hear me out. This fruit sounds cool on the surface and is used by one of the dumbest users in all of One Piece. It's kind of funny, to be honest. The difference between the weakest and strongest users is, like Crocodile so eloquently put it, the creativity of the user. The ability to experiment and test the limits of your capabilities. This devil fruit has so much potential that it hurts seeing it used to fling boogers. The ability to explode any part of your body and you choose boogers to fire. Not only is it disgusting, it's just so stupid. It sounds like a child that just got this power and was amazed that their snot rockets could become harmful projectiles. It also grants immunity to explosions, which is a pretty nice benefit. Therefore, any form of explosion except for the fiery aftermath cannot harm them. Now, what would I use it for? Of course, you want my opinion. Let's first acknowledge the limits. First, they have to come in contact with the opponent to explode their limbs. Therefore, if someone faster comes around, they're screwed. It has to be detonated by will, shown from when Zoro and Luffy hit them and they didn't explode. Therefore, it's more of a controlled explosion and not a landmine type of deal, right? So what can we do about this power to make it better? Again, let's consider the previous problem. The weapon is the user's body, but anything from their body can explode. Yeah, now what extent can he make his own body explode? Are we talking like final explosion kind of boom? Another option, prepare bombs or weapons in advance. Literally any part of his body can explode upon his will. He's, in my opinion, a better Bakugo. The only difference is that anything from his body can explode, beside it just being sweat. Create something like a gauntlet or something to hone the explosions and bam. Therefore, creating a higher tier of villain. He can use sweat, blood, anything. Pee, gross, but it's there. If it were me, I'd make something like darts. Put something in them, like blood, and fire them from a distance. You can use knives, kunai, disc, anything other than boogers. Unless awakened, we don't know the extent of this ability. And to be completely honest, the boogers things just pissed me off. Like, why, dude? Why? I know it's One Piece, but please. The Kiro Kiro No Mi is a paramecia type devil fruit eaten by the partner of Mr. 5. The fruit's primary ability is to manipulate the user's weight at will, as measured in kilos. Why? I don't know. But either way, they can move normally even while super heavy and are unaffected by the collisions as we've seen. And when they are lighter, it is easier to dodge attacks. I have to be completely frank here. This is probably one of the most forgotten fruits in the entire series, right? The better version appears during the Dressrosa arc, but who cares about that? These fruits are typically lame because the use is so limited. The only ability you receive is the ability to change the weight of your body, which both users used by getting high up in the air and using a body slam like a Snorlax. So childish. So, being heavier doesn't make them more durable, right? This is very different than like Kirishima's quirk, where he hardens his body. He does become heavier, obviously because of the, added mass, but he becomes way more durable. Therefore, being 10 tons doesn't mean you can survive a bullet to the face, right? Sounds hard to make OP or better, right? Wrong. Let a sophisticated fellow show you how it's done. It is hard, but it all comes down to the thing between your ears, your brain, people. If I had this fruit, I'd focus more on the limits of this heaviness. For example, can I just increase the weight of a certain limb or body part? Can I extend this effect to weapons? If I had it, I'd focus on learning some martial arts. From my years of learning Taekwondo, weight plays a huge role in how you fight. If I did an axe kick with regular force, do some considerable damage. But imagine if I raised my leg, making it the weight of an 18-wheeler and bringing that down upon your head. See where I'm going with this? This is why I love My Hero. It has some of the same or similar powers, but it's so much more creative, or at least the users are. Uraka has the same or similar ability to affect the gravity or weight of things and her own body. Now, if I could make my body lighter, I'd be faster and harder to hit. When I hit, I would add force behind my attacks, making them more devastating. You get what I'm saying? Pair that with hockey, it's a recipe for disaster. The thinking is so limited here. Imagine a hammer fist that comes down like a comet. Sounds much better than going high up in the sky and coming down to where your opponent can just sidestep you. Zoro, prove it. There could be other uses, but that would have to be explored by more intelligent individuals. Hebi Hebi No Mi, Yamato no Orochi, eaten by Kurozumi Orochi. Now, this part may bore you, but I have 20 pages of notes for this one. Here we go. I'm sorry, little one. Despite this being a mythical Zoan fruit, the user is just a coward and an idiot. Give this fruit to a fly and it would do better. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. The Moku Moku No Mi, the smoke fruit. This devil fruit allows the user to create smoke and freely control it. There doesn't seem to be a limit as to how much the user can create. Despite the transparent nature of smoke, the smoke created by the individual is capable of becoming tangible and holding on to foes. The user is able to become smoke themselves and becomes invincible to physical attacks. It has also shown the capability of allowing the user to fly as well. How is that possible? Who knows? Who cares? It's One Piece. Now, we all love Smoker. He's the Marine that we want as the head of the Marines. He is down in the trenches. He's seeing the world as it is and doesn't want the government to prop up his career. A man of men, if I must say. Yet his use of the devil fruit, even after a lengthy time skip, did not improve in any way, shape, or form. He even learned how to use haki. Smoker suffers from a common trap in One Piece, thinking that the devil fruit instantly makes you stronger. Logias, let's be honest, Logias are the most busted devil fruits ever. The ability to become a substance and render all attacks useless sounds too good to be true. We know that Logias are too strong and require either haki or a specific person, element, or substance to overcome them. In Smoker's case, he stretches his powers too much. He likes to play the far game, like many Logia users do. But smoke isn't as deadly as fire, magma, or shooting sharp icicles at people, right? Smoke, when spread thin, doesn't do anything. It literally doesn't. He needs to be more creative. Not to get too morbid here, but after another in-depth research session, we all know about smoke inhalation, right? Depriving your body of oxygen. For those who don't know, breathing is good for you. But depriving your body of oxygen can lead to unconsciousness, damage to organs, and even death. Now, smoke can be colorless as well, a silent killer, which is why you need to make sure that you have carbon monoxide detectors in your house. Stay safe out there. Smoker, in my opinion, is too straightforward to use this kind of approach, right? He prefers sending his punches flying and hiding in his smoke to get the upper hand. There's nothing wrong with that strategy, but when you have an ability that can create smoke, you can literally knock people unconscious by depriving them of oxygen. Just saying, you have a top tier fruit there. We don't know the extent of what type of smoke he can create. He could create flammable type of smoke, like Caesar. Just saying. The Kage Kage No Mi. This fruit gives the user the ability to manifest and control shadows of living creatures, including their own, as physical and tangible forms. The user can steal shadows of other beings and insert them into different bodies, living or dead, which we know the person who uses this one, Gecko Moria. It's, in my opinion, one of the best and strongest paramecia fruits ever created, ever put in this series. Not only can you create an army, but you can take shadows and add the shadow's owner's strength to your creations or yourself. But we can all agree that Moria grew too complacent with this fruit. He relied on the fruit to compensate for his own weakness, right? Now, we've seen the flashbacks. We've seen what a Chad this man was back in the day. He set up an island with graveyards, tried making the strongest zombie, and settled to increase his own power as a last resort when Luffy had him cornered. My first problem was, why would you use a giant? Why would you use a giant to make an ultimate zombie? The bigger the target, the bigger the mouth. Literally, all you need to do is get water into their mouths, which Jinbei showed during the War of the Best arc. Literally just get seawater in there. Bam, they're done. The second thing is that Moria failed to keep his sense of self while boosting his own power. Meaning he probably never trained with this power to its fullest. The best power he has, he never got used to it. I'm just saying, he can get the shadow of a strong user, add it to himself, obtain their abilities, and go ham. Now, I'm not talking about having 1,000, 1,000,000 shadows into your own body. How good is that if you don't have the equipment to use those abilities? If it were me, and I'm just saying, I would grab specific shadows, like maybe one of a master swordsman, a powerful martial artist, other weapon users, whatever it is. And I would create some type of device that would allow me to hold on to them and absorb them and use them as needed. Because again, it does take a lot of willpower to use them without going unconscious. But the whole point is having different abilities that you can use, just like Midoriya. Literally, I'm equating everything to my hero, and I did make a video about that. Go check that out. But the whole point is each thing is a tool. So have a sword, have a mace. You have a lot of different weapons that you can use that you don't even have to master. You just need to find someone who has mastered it, get their shadow, take it, and you're good. Even the strongest devil fruits can be given to the worst users. There's so many devil fruits in this series, and yet not all are created equal. We can agree on that. But each one has the potential to be a threat in its own way, if fully explored, especially since awakenings are capable of doing so much. Literally, Doflamingo literally has a devil fruit that allows him to create and control strings. But he is probably one of the strongest villains ever known to man. Devil fruits, they're the bread and butter of One Piece. It's the power system that has bolstered and brought longevity to this story. Oda knows what he's doing. We can't help but appreciate the complexity of One Piece and the vastness and potential of devil fruits. But there will always be those ones that slip through the cracks. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these devil fruits. Do you think the users are good? Do you think they're stupid? Whatever you think, put it down in the comments below. Let me know if you would like another one of these type of videos, and make sure to check out other videos that I have on my channel as well. I have a couple for recommendations for upcoming series coming in 2026, and manga recommendations for new series or series that people probably haven't heard of. But thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell, and until next time, keep reading.